Let me start by saying hello again. This is a 1.9 2003 Volkswagen TDI ALH. You can see the engine is hanging off of one mount. I know you're not supposed to do that, but that mount is more than sufficient to hold that up. The issue that I had was, and I don't know if you can see real clearly here, the issue was a dual mass flywheel that was off center, off balance. And when I finally opened it up to change the clutch, lo and behold, the dual mass flywheel had separated. I guess the nylon bushings had shifted more than 15 degrees. They're only supposed to shift about 5 degrees, but it shifted 15 degrees. So in order to get those lovely bolts, those 12-point bolts out of the center, I had to cut the center hub out. I know a lot of guys will tell you if you pry it real hard, the experts will tell you if you pry it real hard, that you can get it out. They even tell you if you cut the rivets out, which I'll show you here. If you cut the rivets out, that you'll get the whole unit to separate. But unfortunately, the only thing that happens is the clutch surface separates and that center hub stays on. So I wound up having to cut the center hub anyway. And you say dual mass, I don't know dual mass from single mass. What's the difference? Well, here's the difference. The dual mass has the springs that dampen the shift mechanism built into the flywheel. That's the dual mass flywheel. And you know you have a dual mass flywheel if your clutch doesn't have springs in it. See, there's a dual mass clutch and there's a dual mass pressure plate. Both are in very good condition. Okay, but the problem that was experienced was there was a wobble, a very violent vibration that was occurring while shifting, I guess between low RPMs up until 2,000, 3,000 RPMs. Then the wobble would go away, and it would go away just basically due to centrifugal force. The faster you went, the less it was out of balance because it kind of spun itself into balance. Here is a single mass flywheel. That's the one that's going to replace the other one. This is a used one. Hey, I got no problem with used equipment. This is a new clutch, and you notice the springs inside. The springs inside means that the springs aren't in the flywheel. They're in the clutch. See over there? No springs. That means the springs are in the flywheel. Okay, and there's a new pressure plate. Of course, I got the throwout bearing, the whole kit. And I got this from these guys, F1 Racing Clutch System from eBay. Good people, good equipment. And I'm expecting good things. But today was the first day I got the grinder out and cut that center hub. I also got my 12-point tool, and just with the simple bar holding against the flywheel. Since I'm not using this flywheel again, I don't care about the starter teeth, and just held it with one hand and pushed down with the other hand. Those bolts are all loose and ready to come out. I had to get the new bolts for the single mass flywheel, and once I get that all set, I'm going to put it all back together. Took the opportunity while I had it all apart to take the A-frame arms with the ball joints and all that stuff out and replace that. That was all in pretty bad condition. Like I said, this is 2003, so it's about 9 years old. The dual mass flywheels, I've heard them going bad after as little as 50,000 miles. This one has about, I guess, 120,000 miles on it. Last video I did was because the timing belt went. I redid the timing belt, and that's great. I actually put in the turbo from the eBay vendor who builds them locally here in the States and balances them. That turbo is the best turbo. I have 3 of these Volkswagen TDIs, and this is the best one of them. I can hear it whining, just like a big rig diesel whines. Not as loud, you can hear the audible noise. So I'm going to put the new A-frames in. I actually put in a new mount for the strut because the strut bearing was bad. Every time you turn left or right, it would go cook, 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 cook. Well, there's a bearing up there. I don't know if you can see any of that, but there's a bearing up there. Be forewarned, if you're going to change that bearing, get a spring compressor first. Compress these springs. If you don't compress these springs, that spring can pop up and really hurt you. I don't want to see anybody getting hurt because they're trying to follow anything that I did, or thinking that it's much easier than it is. So this is where I'm sitting now. I have all of the equipment. I'm pretty much ready to go. This is my daughter's daily driver. She's driving roughly about, I guess, 40 miles a day, to and from school. And she started to say she had this problem, that problem, and another problem. And of course I thought it was her. I told her don't sit on your clutch as much. And you know, kids learning to drive, you always think if something goes wrong with the car, it's on them. But this is clearly a intended manufacturing problem. The dual mass flywheels are designed to eventually go bad. And I say eventually because once you get past that 100,000 mile mark, these dual mass flywheels seem to eat themselves. I would suggest if you get your clutch replaced at or around 100,000 miles to get a single mass flywheel and put it in there. It's not much more expensive since the person doing the clutch job is going to have it open already. And I'm assuming anybody who can get to this point where they're in the clutch, that they can put a new flywheel on. And I do highly recommend that you get the single mass flywheel and make sure that the new clutch assembly has the springs inside. The springs inside. And wish you luck. I mean, there's still a lot of things that can go wrong, but I disapprove when things are designed to eventually fail on you. And you know, if they're designed to fail, they're going to fail. This one, the timing belt went because the water pump had the plastic impeller, and the plastic impeller started to go wonky, and that's what took the whole shebang out. So, anybody got any comments, questions, or concerns? Let me know. I'm getting better and better at this. Not because I intend to, but because it's necessary. You got to keep your cars running. If you don't keep your cars running, you're always buying new cars. And these little diesels are tough little boogers. All right, take care. Bye bye.